I've seen this film twice officially. The first time I watched it, I was like, this is interesting. As you can see from the title, I'm pretty sure I'm titling this the BL film that I thought I hated until the credits rolled. Yeah, it's the second time I watched it, which was yesterday, I discovered a few things about the story. So this film is about a play actor who is like really famous in the industry and an idol, and the idol is going to be acting in a play with this actor. The actor, like the play actor in the film, his name is jae-ha, and the idol, his name is Seunghoon. We get to see Seunghoon and jae-ha kind of, at first they're very like, I don't want to say like opposites to each other, but like Seunghoon is like, you know, the younger kind of not interested, you know, kind of character, and jae-ha is like the very invested, serious kind of character. And like literally like their first encounter is like Seunghoon is like late to the reading of the script, where they're looking over the script, seeing if there's anything they want to change, and Seunghoon shows up like really late to the thing, and like Seunghoon's like, I guess you can call it like his secretary or like his assistant is like, oh, you know, I'm sorry that we're late or whatever. And when Seunghoon like starts reading the lines, jae-ha like stops him, and he's just like, okay, that this is not how this is gonna do. You have to, you know, be more invested in the script, right? So time goes by, and like there's still some more. Seunghoon's not like entirely invested, but like he's still kind of, he's trying, I guess. We find out that jae-ha has I think she's his wife, or at the very least a girlfriend, one of the two. I'm pretty sure they're married, because I think I remember at some point, I don't know, whatever. That part's not pertinent to the story. So the next time jae-ha and Seunghoon are like practicing the lines, jae-ha's like, hey, that's not how Singer, Seunghoon's character in the play, would read that. He's basically telling him you need to channel that character and how that character should be portrayed, right? And there comes a point where Seunghoon is like reading, right? Excuse me, where Seunghoon comes back with the script, and he like made like changes to it, and he told the director, hey, you know, I feel like this would fit his character a lot more. From the title, and I call this a BL because, I mean, that's what it is. It's a boys' love film that threw me for a loop. So that's essentially like their dynamic. Seunghoon is trying to, you know, channel his like acting side, and jae-ha is essentially like, you know, helping him with that. Now, the more they start to interact with each other, it seems as if jae-ha has feelings for Seunghoon, or is at the very least starting to have feelings for Seunghoon, because He meets jae-ha's spouse. They seem to have like a bit of a connection. They eat dinner together and that kind of thing. And there's a point where Hee-won, who is jae-ha's spouse, is helping Young-woo practice his lines in like the script, and like she's reading Walter's part, who is jae-ha's character in the play. She's reading Walter's lines, and Young-woo was like acting out the scenes, and there becomes a point where Hee-won seems maybe uncomfortable with some part of it, because there's like a point where like he read a certain line, and she just kind of stared at him and like closed the script book and like gave it back to him, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then there's a part where like they're practicing like on stage. jae-ha and Young-woo are practicing, right? And actually some things like happen like before that, where Young-woo seems to be kind of attached to jae-ha. So there, like I said, there's a part where they're like practicing like on stage, right? After they had collected props for the play, and there's a scene that they were practicing where Young-woo has to like get out of like these restraints, and jae-ha seems like clearly distracted, I guess you could say. Like he's trying to get out of the restraints, and then like jae-ha goes, oh, you're moving too slow, or you're doing that too slowly, and he was like, okay. And so like they run it back, and he does it again. He was like, okay, you're still going too slow, tell him to go faster. And they do it again, and then he stops him again, right? And he goes, I can't, he's like reading the script, right? He's like, oh, I can't read this script because the dialogue is too like all over the place. And then the director goes, well, just change it then, change it to what you think it should be. And then he was like, well, did I say there's anything wrong with the dialogue? And I was just like, yes, jae-ha, you did. So that happens, and then he gets annoyed again with Young-woo. He's like, oh, he's not reading his lines correctly, or he's not reading his line, getting clearly agitated. And then he ends up like smacking Young-woo like on the head, and then Young-woo goes, you're not, he was like, Walter, jae-ha's character, was supposed to read a line there. He wasn't reading it, and then he like storms away. Young-woo storms away. jae-ha like goes after him. He's like on the balcony or whatever, and he's like, oh, what's wrong with you? You don't want to do this anymore, or something like that. And then Young-woo was just like, why is everyone so like aggressive? He was like, I want to try, I want to do this because this is something that I actually like doing, basically, that he wants to be better, right? Young-woo, he goes back inside, and they start practicing again. Now I believe this is either like that night or a night after or something. Actually, the time when Young-woo went to jae-ha's like house, Hee-won was like there, and she came out and she saw that they like sitting next to each other like laughing and stuff, and it's insinuated that she thinks there's something between them because like the look she gave them, but like whatever. So I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. So jae-ha was like on like the stage where they're gonna be doing the actual play, and he is basically like looking around, and Young-woo like shows up, and they're like reading their lines to each other, like the lines from the play. And they have like a moment, and they're about to, kiss, but jae-ha like looks into the crowd, and he sees Hee-won, his spouse, and like she storms out, and like he chases after her, telling her, oh, it's basically saying, oh, it's not what you're thinking, right? And like she leaves like his like lunch and stuff, and like storms away. Now, we see again that jae-ha is like still very distracted and that kind of thing, and he's running, and like he seems like there's something going on, and Young-woo shows up, right? And jae-ha like kind of stares at him, and he like pulls him like into the shed, and they he asks him, are you gay? And he's like, oh no, I just like you. If I see this trope one more time, it'll be, I'm going to lose my marbles. So yeah, that happens, right? Time skips, and they're like, in the car together, doing like cute shit. Young-woo like, smooches his cheek, and they're like about to go to the beach to like hang out together. And they get out, and they're like, frolicking around, that kind of cute shit. And then, as they're like, relaxing in the car, I believe it was Young-woo's assistant or like his manager or something, like find out that they're hanging out together, and they pull up on them when they're at the beach in the truck, and they open the door, and they like yank him out and whatever. And there's like a conflict between jae-ha, the director of the play, and like the managers of Young-woo, because they're saying, hey, you guys shouldn't be doing this type of thing because it's going to cause like controversies or whatever. Which, okay, so literally like right after that, they had to do like a press conference about the play and the characters and stuff, and there's like, you can visually see that there's like some awkwardness between jae-ha and Young-woo, because Young-woo is like staring, and basically jae-ha is like doing like all the talking as the interviewers asking questions about the play and whatever, right? Young-woo ends up at the end of the press conference, he gets like pulled away by his manager. Now, skipping ahead, Hee-won is like at home. Hee-won, if you have forgotten, is the spouse of jae-ha. She's at home, and she noticed there's like a strange energy in the atmosphere. She notices like her curtains are open, her shutters are open, and she's like looking around, and she thinks that there's someone in the house. So she's like looking around, seeing if there's anyone there. I think the front door was open, and she notices that a vase of hers that she used to like store candles in was like on the floor. And like she like looks up, and then like she like bolts towards the back room, and like she sees like a figure go past. Actually, before that, I can't believe I forgot this. The night before that, it seems to be that Young-woo came to jae-ha and Hee-won's house and just like loomed over them as they were asleep. Like broke in, walked around the house, walked upstairs, and just kind of stared. And the motherfucker had a knife, and I was just like, okay. And these two sequences were when I was kind of like, what am I watching? Like I was confused. because I was just like, how do we go from like BL to like fucking Criminal Minds? Like what? What happened? So yeah, after, you know, he wanted like looking around, she like bolts away, and like it cuts from like after we see the shadow go by. That it's assumed to be Youngwoo. And it cuts, right? And we just assumed the worst happened there. And I was like, okay, that's a little weird that's a thing that happened. So it comes time for the play, right? And jae-ha is like, you know, getting his makeup done for the role, and as he's doing his makeup, or getting his makeup done, Youngwoo like walks in, and he looks like clearly like in distress. Like, and by distress I mean like he doesn't seem like he's like upset or anything, but well, he does seem upset, but he doesn't seem like he's like sad. He just seems like not there. jae-ha like pulls him aside. He was like, did you go to were you there last night at me and Hee-won's house, or did you go see her like this morning? And Youngwoo says something on the lines of like, he just says some creepy shit. If I can get a clip, I'll put the clip after this.
집에 갔다 왔니나? 희원이가 전해주래? 난 오늘 정말 완벽하게 싱어가 될 수 있을 것 같아요, 월드.
Anyway, so the it's a time to start to play. They get started, right? They're going back and forth, you know, doing the scenes, and there comes a point where Young was like talking about Claire, who is the spouse of Walter from the play, and jae-ha's like, oh, did you go see Hee-won? And he stops himself, and he's like, did you go see Claire? He meant to say Claire, but like, you know, Hee-won is his in real life spouse, right? And Youngwoo, also known as Singer in the play, he's like, oh yeah, I went to go see Claire last night. Basically, you know, being insane.
형, 나 생각났어. 우리 이렇게 만든 거 마크야. 내가 클레어네 집에 갔었어.
뭐? 네가 희원이? 아니 클레어 집에 네가 왜 가? 네가 왜?
He does it again where he mistakes Claire for Hee-won again, right? And there comes a point where like Youngwoo is like, you know, basically insinuating that something bad happened, right? And like jae-ha like looks around the crowd to try to see if he can find Hee-won, right? Because he thinks that something happened with Hee-won, right? God, this film is so fucking good. And I really can't like explain the play and like the emotions of the character without you guys going to watch it yourself. Slight trigger warning though, because we'll get there. Yeah, so Youngwoo's really, you know, playing into that character, right? And there comes a point where there's like a stunt that Youngwoo has to do where he has a noose, right? And there's like we see that there's a clip behind him, which is supposed to stop him from actually, you know, dying, right? So he like pauses as he's about to put the clip on, and he stops himself, and he's like, he says some line again. I'm going, should I put it? I'm not. I might put the audio. Yeah, and I'll put the translation. So yeah, he's about to, you know, do that, and he does that, and the other part of the news is like connected to jae-ha. And there's this really like concerning like thing that happens where like he's literally like, you know, choking, and so is jae-ha, and jae-ha like gets out of his you know, his restraints, because he was like restrained, right? So he gets out of the restraints, and he like hoists up Youngwoo to, you know, stop himself from like, you know, dying. So he hoists him up, and again, there's like this really good line, and like, you know, throughout this video, I'm going to be posting like some of my favorite lines from the film, because there's a lot. So, you know, he's helping him from like, you know, choking, and then like they fall. Well, basically like Youngwoo starts like kicking around, and he like falls, and they both fall, and then the lights go down. jae-ha goes back backstage, you know, to because that's basically like the end of the play, right? And the director tells him, hey, Youngwoo didn't come backstage. We think that he's still, you know, on the stage, and he's like, he didn't come back. So he when the lights are off, he goes out, and he goes to try to find Youngwoo, and Youngwoo is like, you know, laid on the ground, not moving, and he screams to turn the lights on, and the lights come on, and then everybody just starts clapping. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And they get up and they bow, and they walk backstage, and jae-ha just kind of seems kind of puzzled, right? And again, I'm gonna put this line here, but I'm gonna say the line first. But then, if whatever, after I say the line, I'm gonna post the clip after. jae-ha, Youngwoo goes, I played a perfect singer, but you were just Walter.
난 완벽한 싱어였고 당신은 그냥 월터였네.
And that line kind of stuck out to me, and I kind of just paused on that line for the longest time. I was just like, what? I was like, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? And essentially, you know, he walks away, and jae-ha kind of like sits on his chair, and he just pauses there, and that's basically the end of the movie. And at the first time I watched this, right, I literally stared blankly at the screen for like 5 minutes straight, trying to understand what happened. And this was like, you know, during the credits, right? And I was just like watching, I was like, wait. It was kind of just like one of those like, kind of like, you know, things. And then it clicked. I was like, wait. I haven't said the name of the film yet. The name of the film is Method. The synopsis literally says, excuse the ghetto-ness, but I'm pulling up the synopsis right now. It says, veteran actor jae-ha has made a name for himself as a man truly devoted to his craft. Taking keen interest in every aspect of theater production, he actively seeks out ways in which he can help, doing everything he can to ensure each production has a part of the highest caliber. As devoted as he is in the production side of things, he's even more devoted when it comes to carrying out his roles. Notorious for his method acting, jae-ha thinks nothing of adopting the personality of the character he plays to such an extent that he becomes the character until the curtain falls on the final production. That's the first paragraph of the synopsis. And I was thinking about this, I was like, wait, the name of the film is called Method. jae-ha does everything and anything he can to ensure that he gets the perfect play. The perfect play, right? And I was like, so wait, and I was thinking about everything that he did. Purposefully making Youngwoo upset, purposefully making Youngwoo fall in love with him, purposefully making Youngwoo, kind of become Singer, which is like this unhinged character who was in love with Walter, the character that jae-ha played. But then I was watching it again yesterday, and I was like, wait, did jae-ha become the character so much that he actually started to think the things that that character was, was he, like he said, using his methods, and his methods of creating a perfect film, did they make him like not be able to distinguish the character's feelings between his feelings? And also, after I watched it again, I was like, was Youngwoo also using those methods? Because what he said at the end of the film, I played a perfect singer, you were just Walter. And I was just like, and I was also thinking, was Hee-won also a part of that too, of using certain methods to make the characters, to make Youngwoo and jae-ha play these characters? Like, that might be a bit of a stretch, but there's a point where like Hee-won, jae-ha's spouse, like some of the things that she did and like said led me to believe that she was also a part of the whole method thing. But I think it was mostly just jae-ha who was the one doing the whole, oh, this is a method of which I'm going to use. Now, talking about Youngwoo, I don't know if Youngwoo actually had feelings for jae-ha, because of what he said at the end. Now, it can be assumed, right? Because if you watch the scene where they're doing the play, there's like this amazing emotion, and this is the part where I'm going to be praising the actors, because there's Park Seunghoon and Seunghoon, their dynamic is great. And also specifically Seunghoon's acting in the play, his acting in the play were just diabolical and he plays that type of character really well. I've came to notice this very unhinged, passionate killer, essentially. And again, I'll play one of my favorite scenes that from the play that he does, where he's kind of like a Joker-like character, singer from the play, where he says this one line where he's like, I really hate puppies, because he's like, puppies and like baby animals are kind of just loved for just being that.
형을 여기다가 몰아넣은 건 나야. 나라고. 나야! 마크가 도와줬어. 왜냐면 마크도 클레어를 사랑하거든. 근데 형도 마크도 왜 클레어만 사랑하는 거야? 날 사랑한다고 했잖아. 왜? 날 사랑한다고 해놓고 왜? 난 아이랑 강아지들이 싫어. 아무 이유 없이 사랑받는 것들. 세상에는 사랑의 총량이 정해져 있단 말이야.
And I was like, huh, that's interesting. And just great acting, in my opinion. Just like I kept watching certain parts back, and I was just like, wow, this is a very layered film. And I feel like the more I watch it, the more I'm going to start discovering things about it, and the more I'm going to notice things I didn't notice before. Like, for example, like I said, I watched it twice so far, and I was just like, is everyone in on it? But I think method is probably one of the most invested or just enveloped films that I have seen so far. Just makes your brain go in loops in a good way. Because I've watched films and like BL films they make your mind go in loops for no reason, and I'm just like, okay, I'm thinking about all these possible things that could have been or are, and I'm just like, okay, there's no point of this. There's literally no point of me making my brain do fucking barrel rolls when there's no point of doing it. But yeah, just great acting by Park Seunghoon and Oh Seunghoon, and also Yoon Sung-ah. She's had some really great acting as well. I noticed on the film it has like a 6.9 rating out of 10, and I'm just like, 6.9. I mean, that's not a terrible rating, but I honestly feel like it should be rated like a lot higher than that. Like, it's honestly, it's not a film that everybody is going to like, clearly, but I was just watching and I was just like, this is honestly a masterpiece. Like, anyway, literally the only thing that I did not like about the film was the line about, the typical like BL line, like, oh, I'm not gay, I just like you. Okay. Anyway, that is my extremely long rant about the BL film Method. Just amazing. Honestly, I'm very tempted to watch it again today because it's just that good. But yeah, thank you for watching my my review, my rant, my ramblings about this film. Please let me know how you feel. If you have seen it, please watch it. You can watch it on Viki if you have Viki Pass, or an undisclosed website that you may have to DM me to get it. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this. I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews of films and BO shows and that thing, because this is just what I like doing. I like to entertain people by telling stories, and that's what this is. Thank you so much for watching this video that is going to take hours to edit. We're hitting the 40-minute mark. I am so sorry. I'm going to try to edit this down to a lot less than that, because I ramble a lot and I say and like 5 times. I'll see you in my next video. Hopefully a reaction or something related to that. But yeah, bye.